The moment you start explaining yourself, you lose power, not because you're wrong, but because you're trying to be accepted, and the one who seeks acceptance is already in a weaker position. Power doesn't rush to justify itself. It states and moves on. But most people can't do that. They explain. They repeat. They try to be understood. And in doing that, they give away their authority. Because the more you explain, the more it looks like you need approval. And the moment you need approval, you lose control. Look around. The person who talks the most is rarely the most respected. But the one who says less, who stays calm, who doesn't react instantly, controls the room. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this clearly. He didn't teach people to be liked. He showed how power works. And once you see it, you can't ignore it. In this video, you'll understand why explaining yourself lowers your value and what to do instead. Don't skip the last part. That's where most people fail and where control begins. Part 1. You were trained to explain. You didn't choose this habit. It was trained into you. From childhood, you were asked to explain everything. Why did you do that? Explain your answer. Justify your decision. And slowly, you were conditioned to believe explaining yourself equals being right. But that only works in controlled environments. Schools, systems, rules. Not in real human dynamics. Because in real life, people are not judging your logic. They are judging your behavior. They are reading your tone, your pace, your hesitation. And when you explain too much, you reveal something dangerous. You reveal that you are unsure of how you are being perceived. And that uncertainty lowers your value instantly. Because high-value people don't chase understanding. They assume it. They speak from certainty. They don't try to convince. They don't try to over-clarify. They state and move on. And if someone doesn't understand, they don't panic. Because their position does not depend on being understood by everyone. Part 2. Over-explaining equals weakness. Over-explaining is not communication. It's exposure. Every extra word reveals your internal state. Not your intelligence, your insecurity. You think people are listening to your logic. They're not. They're watching your behavior, your tone, your pace, your need to continue. Explain once, and you sound confident. Explain again, and you start to sound unsure. Keep explaining, and you look weak. Because now it feels like you don't trust your own words. And if you don't trust them, no one else will. Here's what actually happens. The more you talk, the more openings you create. More chances to be questioned. More chances to be challenged. You think you're clarifying. You're giving people more ways to attack you. And the worst part, you show that you care. You need them to understand. You need them to agree. That need gives them leverage. Now they have control. Watch this in real life. You say something, someone replies, "That doesn't make sense." Most people react instantly. They start explaining, trying to fix the situation, but now they're reacting. And the one who reacts loses control. A stronger response is simple. "It makes sense to me." Then silence. Now the pressure shifts. Now they have to respond. Most people can't hold that silence, so they talk. And in doing that, they lose. Over-explaining says, "I need your approval." Silence says, "I don't." And that difference decides who has power. Part 3. Silence wins. Arguments. Watch what happens in an argument. Two people, same situation, different outcomes. One starts explaining, trying to fix the situation, control how they're seen. The more they talk, the more unstable they look. Not because they're wrong, because they're reacting. Now look at the other person. They say one line. "I said what I said." And then they stop. No defense, no extra words, no reaction, just silence. And that silence changes everything, because silence creates pressure. The moment the conversation stops, the other person feels it. Now they have to respond. Most people can't handle that gap, so they start talking, trying harder. And in doing that, they expose themselves. Their tone shifts, confidence drops, control disappears. This is the shift. The one who keeps talking is trying to regain control. The one who stays silent already has it, because control doesn't come from speaking more, it comes from reacting less. Silence forces the other person to think, but when you fill every gap with words, you remove that pressure. Now you're chasing their reaction. That's why powerful people don't rush to explain. They let things sit, because silence shifts the burden. Now the other person feels like they need to prove something, not you. And the moment that happens, the power flips. The talker loses ground. The silent one gains control. So next time you feel the urge to explain, stop, say less, or say nothing. Because in that moment, silence is not weakness, it's dominance. Part 4. Speak less, earn more respect. This becomes obvious at work. People don't just hear what you say. They measure how you say it. Two people, same role. One says, here's the result. Clear, direct, done. The other starts explaining. So basically what happened was, I tried this, then that. They keep going, trying to show effort, trying to sound smart. But effort doesn't create respect. Results do. And over-explaining makes it look like you're compensating. Like the result isn't strong enough. So you add words to support it, but those words weaken the impact. Because confidence doesn't need a paragraph. It needs a sentence. Now watch the reaction. The one who speaks less gets more attention. The one who explains everything gets filtered out. Not because they're less capable, but because they sound less certain. And in professional environments, certainty matters more than detail. Managers look for clarity. They look for control. And control shows in how little you say. This doesn't mean you never explain. It means you don't over-explain. You give what's necessary, nothing more. Because the moment you add extra detail, you shift from confidence to justification. And justification signals doubt. Now you're not presenting, you're defending. And the one who is defending is already in a weaker position. So next time you speak at work, pause, cut the extra, say only what matters. Because the one who controls their words controls their value.